Well, that's all you guys get to see, because if I show the rest of the package, it's gonna give it away. But I'm gonna make a video on that package sometime in the very near future. Alright guys, if you guys remember that part of that vlog, today's the day I'm gonna make a video of this mysterious green package, which is actually from Instacart. For any of you who don't know what Instacart is, basically Instacart is a phone app where you can either work for Instacart or you can be a customer. But if you work for Instacart, basically what you do is you go to a designated grocery store. The app will tell you what store to go to. You have to shop for somebody's groceries and then you deliver those to their house. So pretty much I applied to work for Instacart, which is really simple. You just like pretty much register on the app or whatever. And yeah, they sent me this package, and inside that package it came with this like Instacart like tag thing. And it also came with this Instacart credit card. And yeah, basically after that, like I was set to start working for Instacart. And so I started on July 3rd is the first day I did Instacart, and today is July 21st, and I've been doing it almost every day. I actually have like a 5-hour shift later this afternoon. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a rundown of the app. I'm gonna tell you guys if it's worth it to do Instacart. I'm gonna tell you guys how much money you can make doing it. I'm gonna give you some advice when it comes to Instacart. And I'll also share with you some out of the ordinary experiences I've kind of had with Instacart. So this is what the app looks like. This is your dashboard when you're actually on the clock. So you actually have to schedule hours for Instacart. When you're on the clock, this will show a map. So, but right now I'm not on the clock, so it doesn't show a map. So in here, if you go into the sidebar, you can go down to your hours, and that gives you a list of like your hours. And then like you can go next week, and then you can, if you see here it says no hours available, here you can pick up hours. So for next week I wasn't able to pick up any hours except for a Thursday, but if you check a lot, sometimes hours will become available. In here, earnings, you could see like how much money you've actually made. You could set up direct deposit so it goes directly into your bank account. It goes into your bank account every Wednesday. And that's pretty much it. Current orders, when you have an order, it'll pop up right here. But that's basically it. It's a relatively simple app to use, and it's a pretty good system. So if you guys want to know if like Instacart's worth it, like if it's worth your time and energy to do Instacart and if it pays off, it really kind of depends how you look at it. So the short answer, I would say yes, it's worth it. You can make some money doing it, and it's pretty good. I've had some pretty good experiences using Instacart. But it kind of depends how you look at it, and there's kind of also like a strategy. So I'll go deeper into that in a minute. So how much money can you make doing Instacart? I'll just tell you right now that over the past 4 days that I've been working this week, I've made roughly $300, and that's a total of 15 working hours. So like the way it kind of works is like you have to schedule your hours, but just because you're scheduled during a certain amount of time, it doesn't mean that you're going to constantly be doing deliveries. There's going to be times where you're going to have to like wait around until you get an order on your phone. And by the way, on Instacart, they call orders batches. So from now on, I'll use the word batch just to like use the Instacart lingo, So it's like it's pretty decent. Like where is it? Your hours at the top of the screen, it'll estimate what your weekly pay will be. So this is what it estimated mine at. Between 370 and 413. And yeah, after my shift today, that I guess I probably will make that. I really wanted to try Instacart. Like I'm always like fascinated by these like new kind of like things that come out that are like, it's kind of cool because you kind of like are your own boss kind of thing. You choose when you want to work, when you don't want to work, and it's like super flexible. Like I like it. If you guys, some of you guys might know that I did do Uber like a couple, like maybe like 4 years ago. I tried Uber for like a little while, and I'll say I think I like Instacart more. The cool thing about Instacart is you won't drive nearly as much as Uber because you're getting paid for like going into the stores. Like you're actually spending like time in the stores going around doing shopping. Some people will have like a lot of items, like maybe like 30 items. So like you do spend a decent amount of time in the stores, and then at least in my experience so far, a lot of the people's homes have been relatively close to where the stores are. Like, I would say the furthest I've ever had to drive, which was a little bit out of the ordinary. The furthest I've had to drive was maybe like 20 minutes or so. And the cool thing about Instacart is that if it is kind of a long distance delivery, they'll do a long distance delivery bump. So like I think for that particular delivery, I got paid like an extra $5 because I had to drive kind of far to the person's house. And there's also tips on Instacart. A lot of people tip. You do get the occasional person who doesn't tip. Like I would say it's maybe like 60% of people tip, 40% don't, or maybe a little higher, maybe 70% tip, 30% don't. But I have had some like pretty decent tips on here. Now, if you yourself are thinking about doing Instacart, I do have a few pieces of advice. One thing is that in the beginning, this is how it works, or the way I think it works, because Instacart is like a pretty smart app. The app itself, I think it like learns, and it's all about rankings and things. I've not found anything online to like prove this, but like this is how I feel Instacart works. So basically, on your first shift ever, they'll give you a batch like right away. They'll put you like in the top of like the priority list, because in your area there might be like a lot of people doing Instacart, and certain people, I believe, have priority over other people. So if you're a new Instacart shopper, like you want to work for Instacart, you start your first shift, I think, at least for me, they gave me a batch like right away. So like I think they do that with everybody. I think everybody gets a batch right away, and it's probably a smaller batch so that you don't get stressed out about it. And then the way it works is they'll tell you go to the store. It might only be like 8 to 10 items, maybe 11 items at the most. So like you have to go shop around the store, and then in between it'll give you like little test questions. Like it'll say if you can't find an item, it'll tell you get a replacement. And then it'll give you a tip, and then it'll give you like a test question. It'll be like, what would be a good replacement for such and such item? And then like it'll give you a list of what the best replacement would be, and you have to pick one of those. Because a lot of the times at the stores, an item will be out of stock or something, and then you're going to have to either replace it with another item that's similar or another brand, or if there's no replacement, you can refund the money to the customer, or you can always like message the customer or call them. So that's how your first shift is gonna go. After your first shift, after your first batch, I should say, I do not believe you're on the priority list. Then I think it goes by how fast of a shopper you are. So what Instacart does is that it times you from the time that you start shopping to when you get to the checkout. It sees how long it took you to collect all the items on the list, and it makes an average. So like, for example, it took 150 seconds for you to find each item on average. That's like the average speed of your shopping time. So if someone's average shopping time is 150 seconds, and then another person's average shopping time is 90 seconds, which is like a pretty good time, they're probably going to prioritize that person who got the 90-second shopping time over the person who got the 150. So this person will get batches before this person. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So at least when you're starting out on Instacart, you're kind of like learning like the layouts of the stores, how to use the app. So it might take you a little longer to find items, which is like totally fine. But I'm just saying, when you're starting out, bring something to do. Like I was bringing a book that I was studying at the time. So like I had something to do while I was waiting to get batches, because I've had a 6-hour shift where I've only gotten one batch in that 6 hours, and it's been like crazy. It's like sometimes you will wait a lot, but then the more experience you get, the faster your shopping time is gonna be. So like I'm starting to get like pretty fast shopping times. So like my last couple of shifts, I've been like constantly busy. Like I've been constantly getting batches. But like someone who's just starting out, you're not gonna get that many. So like my advice to you is to keep at it, because you will get faster, and then you'll get put in a higher priority. And in the beginning, just bring something to do, so like you're not just sitting there bored like in your car or whatever, wherever you're waiting. My other advice is that on the app there's like hotspots. So like I can't show you guys right now because I'm not on the clock right now. It only shows it when you're on the clock. But like there's like hotspots where it'll say this area on the map is a hotspot. So if you drive to that area, there's a lot of batches coming in that area. So if you just hang out in that area, you have a better chance of getting a batch. And if you're too far away from like a store or something, like say if I was at my house and I was on the clock, because I actually did try this, if I was on the clock and I was at my house, I probably wouldn't get any batches, because I'm too far away from any like grocery stores. So I won't get any batches if I stay at my house. So I have to like actually drive to the stores because that'll put me in like a higher priority. They want to get people who are closer to the stores over people who are farther away because that means that their delivery time will be faster. A really important piece of advice that I have is that once you get here it is. Once you get your like little Instacart tag thing in the mail, or no, sorry. Once you get this whole package, because everything was in the same package. So once you get that package, your credit card will be stuck to a piece of cardboard and there's a phone number on there. Make sure that you save that phone number because if you run into like any trouble while you're doing Instacart, you have to call that phone number to like try to help you out. And I've actually ran into like a couple situations where I have had to call that number, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Another piece of advice that I have when you're actually shopping for Instacart, like when you're inside the store and you're looking for like certain items, if you see an item and you think that's it, because this is what I did when I first started Instacart, I would look at it, I was like, okay, they want this 16-ounce box of this, and then I would read it, all right, this is 16 ounces, all right, perfect. Or like I would read something, I'd be like, oh, this isn't 16 ounces, I need to look for the other one, and then I'd just be like looking around. But now my kind of strategy is, this is like my advice for you guys, is if you're shopping and you just see something and you think that's the item, just grab it right away and scan it with your phone. Because if you're right, the phone will accept it and you can just put it in your cart. So then you know you're right. But if you're not right, the phone will tell you that's not the right item. So you don't have to worry about like buying the wrong thing. Your phone will tell you if it's the wrong item, and then you can look for something. So like basically what I'm saying is, don't waste your time trying to confirm all the specifications of a product by reading it. Just pick it up, scan the barcode. If it works, put it in your cart. If it doesn't work, then you can focus on looking for the actual item. So now I'm going to tell you about like the kind of like mishaps I've had while working for Instacart. There's like actually only like maybe 2 or 3 that I've really had. I think just like 2 things that I've really had. But one time I was shopping in a store. I was at Smart and Final, and I finished like an order, and it was like a big order. Like my shopping cart was like had like a mountain on top of it. Like it was a lot of stuff. It was like a lot of big stuff, like rolls of paper towels. Like I had a lot of stuff. So anyways, I had this full shopping cart. I had like 3 cases of water, and like I had a lot of stuff. And so I was ready to go to the checkout because I picked up the last item. Once you pick up the last item, it'll prompt you to go to the checkout. So I was going to the checkout, and all of a sudden my app just like stopped working. Now, the weird thing is that I'm still not 100% sure why my app stopped working. Part of me was thinking it was because I was running low on data, because I was running like really low on data that day. So I was thinking maybe my phone was just slowing down because of that. But another thing that I was thinking is that the app might have just had a glitch. The Instacart app might have just had a glitch, and that's why that happened. So right away I had to call that help number that I was telling you guys that you need to save. I called that help number, and they were able to push me through to the checkout, and I was able to like complete the order. And then my phone just like it started working again like after I left the store. So I don't know if it was like a service issue in the store, if it was the app that was just freezing up, I don't really know. But the people on the helpline, they were really able to help me, so I was like pretty like thankful because I was like stressed out. I was like, man, I'm not gonna just leave this shopping cart full of stuff in this grocery store. I spent like, you know, a good amount of time shopping for those items, so I don't know. The second kind of like mishap kind of thing that happened is I got a batch for Ralph's. So like I went to this Ralph's and I started shopping. It was a small order. I think it was like maybe 10 items. So I like was zooming. I was like mobbing through the store. I got like 3 items already, and it had been like, yeah, I was like really fast that day. I don't know. I was on it. So then I get a message from the customer, because they could like send you text messages on the app, and they said, hey, is there any way we can reschedule my delivery time to 6 p.m. instead of 5 p.m.? And it was like 3 in the afternoon, so I was like, what the heck, 5 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.? Even if the customer wanted their delivery at 5 p.m., I was gonna be done with that order by like 3:40, like at the I would have that at their house by like 3:40. So there's like, you can't like leave groceries outside, like you can't like leave groceries for somebody to like wait for like outside their house. Like I think it might be like a health liability in case like stuff goes bad for Instacart. So anyways, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't change the delivery time. Like I don't have control over that. That's up to like the Instacart I don't really know how the scheduling works, but anyways, apparently this lady wanted her stuff delivered at 5 p.m. So I was like, oh geez, I was like, I'm gonna have this at her house by like 3:40, and she's not gonna be there. So I called that Instacart helpline, and I just told him, I was like, hey, this woman wants to change her order time from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Only problem is I'm shopping for her order right now. I'm gonna be done with this order by like 3:40. Like it's gonna be like way too early for her. They're like, oh okay, I'll contact the customer and let them know. This was like, I think this was like probably about a week ago. She's like, I'll contact the customer and let them know, and we'll reschedule the order for a later time. And I was like, okay. I was like, so what do I do with like the items already picked out? And she's like, oh, you could just put them back on the shelves in the store. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, so am I gonna get like paid for this because I like drove to the store and I already spent some time like picking out items? She's like, oh yeah, you know what? I'll put in a ticket for you. So I think that means she put in like a request for me to get paid for the time that I already spent on that batch. But as of today, it's been like roughly a week. I haven't heard like anything back. So I probably won't get paid for that. I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing. But apart from like those two incidents, like my experience with Instacart has actually been like pretty good. Like it's actually pretty cool. It's like it's not that hard. It's like it might seem a little stressful when you start out, but like after you do it for like 2 weeks or so, it's like oh yeah, it's like I got this. It's like not that bad at all. So my final piece of advice for you guys is regarding your hours. So with Instacart, you can't just log on whenever you want to work. You actually have to schedule your hours in advance, and you can schedule your hours as early as every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. if you have early access status. In the beginning, you will have early access status. If not, you're going to have to work like, I think it's like 90 hours a month to maintain your early access status, or 25 weekend hours a month to maintain your early access status. That means you can pick up hours as early as Sunday morning for the following week. If not Sunday morning, regular hour pickup time or whatever is gonna be on Wednesdays. Now, just because you have early access status doesn't mean you're automatically gonna get hours for the following week. Like if you log on to the app, because this is what people do. They log onto their app as soon as they can to get hours for the following week, and they just book up as many hours as they can, like every day. Whether they're actually going to work those days or not, they just book them all up. And then what they do is they see how their schedule is going for the next week, and then they'll drop hours throughout the week. So if you don't get any hours like at the start of the week or as early as you can, if you just check constantly, like throughout the day or late at night is a good time to check for hours. People will drop their hours and you could pick them up. So just constantly check back. That's like a good way to get hours. And that's about all the advice I have for you guys. Like in the beginning, it's gonna be slow. You're probably not gonna get that many batches, but as time goes on and your times improve and you've been working for a longer period of time, but I think mostly it depends on like how fast you are at shopping. Once your times improve, you'll get more and more batches. So it's gonna be rough in the beginning a little bit. You might not get so much work, but as time goes on, it'll get busier. But yeah, once again, my experience has been like pretty good so far. I like doing it. It's pretty cool. So anyways, guys, that's my video for today. If you've never seen any of my other videos, go ahead and check out my channel. I do cover songs, I do vlogs, and I do the occasional review from time to time. If you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, give me a like. That helps me out a lot. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.